India is on the brink of a major healthcare and market disruption as the patent for semaglutide, the molecule behind blockbuster drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy, expired this month. What was once a very high-cost global innovation could soon become widely accessible across India. And this isn't just about diabetes or weight loss. It's about a potential 10x expansion in the market, a wave of Indian generics entering the space, and a fundamental shift in how we think about chronic disease, about consumption, and even lifestyle economics. So what does this moment really mean for patients, for the healthcare system, and for the companies leading this revolution? That's the big question. Joining me today, Ayesha Faridi, on The Interview, is someone right at the center of this transformation. Join me in welcoming Vikrant Shrotriya, the Managing Director at Novo Nordisk India, on the show right now. Vikrant, great to have you on ET Now. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and I do believe what you said. The transformation, or you can say the major breakthrough, came when semaglutide got indicated not only for diabetes but also for obesity. So I love this phrase of yours where you are talking about the access of this molecule to many more million patients across India.
And you know, Vikrant, that's exactly what I want to talk about. The big disruption that this is being touted as, the patent expiry, the market shift. March 21st, when the patent does expire for semaglutide in India, you know, people are throwing all sorts of figures, and, you know, it's being touted as an unlock of 10x market expansion. Is this, Vikrant, the biggest inflection point yet for obesity and diabetes care?
I would say that advent of semaglutide itself was a big inflection point, because earlier we used to have tablets and insulin injections, and when semaglutide came in injectable, also in the oral form, it became one of the tools in terms of the treatment for diabetes as well as for obesity. And of course, it was in the innovation space. And we all know that any innovative molecule will have a life cycle. So now semaglutide is passing through a juncture where the patents get expired. Now this is a phase where some of the people, they see it as very competitive and a challenge to an innovation. Whereas this is the time where I see it, a time where we need to think differently. We need to find out the solution which makes this drug much more accessible, not only one point, but also making it a science-backed, you can say, accessibility towards the population. That's the second point. It's not only just about the price, and not only about that 10 more players are actually going to make this molecule available in India. It's also about how are they going to sell it across India. How much the commitment, how much the purpose, how much the intent is going to be there. We have been there in the insulin space for more than 100 years. And we know a chronic space cannot be seen as an acute entry. It's in a space where it's a long play. It's a chronic play. So we look forward to these entries, but we also look forward how many players will survive the tide of time over a period of time in terms of a chronic play, because it will require a serious commitment over a period of time.
But tell me, Vikrant, for a company like you, Novo Nordisk, how do you defend leadership when generics enter at, say, 50 to 60% lower prices?
Aisha, this is not the first time actually the generics have come in this space, you know, in at least in chronic disease. We are leaders in, you can say, insulin space. And despite many of the generics players available in India, we have got 6 or 7 generics players. And I should tell you that it gives us proud moment that every second patient is still depend on Novo Nordisk insulin, and likewise across the globe. And insulin has been in the generic space for more than 30-40 years, at least when I look at the molecule. Now, again, semaglutide is a peptide molecule. It's not a small molecule. It is, we manufacture it with rDNA technology. The kind of purity, or I would say the kind of safety profile which we have shown in more than a decade, 49 million patients, actually patient years, have passed through this semaglutide. We have done more than 50 trials when it comes to semaglutide. And overall, the kind of experience which has been through the product which has come out from our laboratories or our, you can say, factories has tested the time over a period of, you can say, more than 12 years. Now, we just have to see that when these molecules come, they also stand the same gold standard which we have established. And I think there is a lot to be proven by so many molecules or so many, you can say, variants which are going to come of this semaglutide molecule. And only time will tell that how many of these players come with serious intent. And that's a play. One play is, you can say, trust, reliability, the kind of quality which has been given. I think that is something which is very, very important. If price is only the issue by which actually doctors prescribe and also the patients take, then I don't think so it becomes as easy as 1, 2, 3 for anybody in any market or any product category to find out the way to market, and that's the least of the price. But I think it is a science-backed promotion, it's a science-backed commitment, it's a science-backed engagement, which also becomes important other than just offering the product.
That makes so much sense, Vikrant. But tell me, does patent expiry democratize access, or does it sort of risk commoditizing breakthrough innovation? How would you look at it?
I would not like to see or envisage as a place which makes it commoditized. I think it is a serious molecule. It should not be taken as a lifestyle product. It should also get prescribed by the right doctor and should also get dispensed by the right pharmacist. And that is what we have always believed. But you are right in your first phrase that it should democratize. I think given the population, which is 250 million in India, approximately many of the people who deserve this treatment are at the fence and they have still not taken because there are lots of myths attached to it and the right intention and inclination to start has still not taken place. Along with the other player, I would say we have hardly 200,000 patients for a population size which is getting affected by obesity, 250 million. That's such a small percentage. It's just the scratch of the surface. So I wish and hope that with so many players, we multiply the access, we democratize the access, and we democratize it in the most scientific manner what is required in India.
But how do you see the competitive landscape itself evolving as Indian pharma giants enter the semaglutide at scale stage? Because it's going to get a very crowded space, so to speak.
There are two ways to look at it, Aisha. I think alone we cannot change or bend the curve of obesity or for diabetes. It's a very difficult thing. The accessibility has got so many points across India. And one of the challenges in India to operate is always a demographic challenges. So when many players come together, I can see it as a stage where we are becoming hyper competitive. But I can also see that at some stage we have to work together or you can say cooperate together just to see that disease gets the awareness and disease gets the right place of this therapy when it is required or prescribed by the doctor. So that's one part of it. But I would say that when many of the players who come, they try to bring in different package, different sizes, different kind of a brand name. So on one side, patients will get many choices. But on the other side, I'm also, you can say, a little bit, you can say, anxious about the confusion in the market at the patient level or at the doctor's level, because many brands and sometimes also sensing in the similar way can also create a lot of confusion. What we have offered to Indian market is something which is of the global standard, of the global packaging, of the global initiation and maintenance trial, and I wish and hope that this standard continues, because otherwise this should not become a chaotic space, and I wish and hope it should not.
Yeah, fingers crossed at that. But Vikrant, India is a very price-sensitive market. I mean, with branded drugs like Ozempic costing around 8,000 rupees per month versus generics potentially at maybe 3,500 rupees per month. Do you think price alone can perhaps drive market share in India?
There is always an accessibility which keeps on increasing as you lower the prices. But we believe that what we have priced in India, it is not something which we have just done, you can say with a dream, and this is the kind of a price. I think we launched in India and we reduced the price what India really requires at that particular, you can say, access point. And of course, if price would have been the issue, then many more patients would have taken right now also in India. I think what India really requires is, along with the right price, is the right education, right engagement, and right scientific literacy to really prescribe as well as to take these medications. And that will become more important than just the price. And we are the advocate of the first one rather than just the price, to give an offer, because it comes from our international production facility. It comes with certain kind of norms of qualities. It comes through, you can say, complete care cool chain. We call it C4 guarantee. All these things do cost a lot. So while we welcome any kind of a competition, and if at all they help the problem in terms of, you can say, better accessibility, I think it will be a winning point for many of the patients if it gives the justice to their problem. But on the other side, I think we have priced it quite nicely, and this should also bring quite a lot of accessibility in India.
Mm. But do you think we're bound to see volume explosion but margin compression across the category? Is that going to be a derivative?
And it is bound to happen that way. As the top line erodes, you will find the pressure on the margin. And I'm not worried about, I'm not a champion of the commercial, you can say, top line and a bottom line. I'm a champion for the patient, for the purpose of, really defining and working together with the doctors to see that the patients get better control. But on the other side, as your money goes less and less, your ability to invest in education or drive education also can be compromised. And that is something which probably I would not like that stage for anyone, because then you are just commodity, making a product like a commodity.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, this has so many social implications. That, of course, is a discussion for another day. But do you expect semaglutide to follow the same path as other molecules in India? Rapid generic dominance within, say, 2 to 3 years?
I just wish and hope that it follow the path of the insulin, where despite many of the generic players, I think we are still having a movement where every second patient depend on us. This is a serious molecule. This is produced in septic conditions. This is a peptide chain, and this has got a manufacturing facility which is unique for different manufacturers. So I wish and I hope that patients and the doctors will understand and give the due to that quality standards which we have set in for, and then we stay true to the Indian soil and continue the journey of innovation in India.
Mm. But Vikrant, what percentage of India's eligible population do you realistically see accessing these therapies post the price correction that we are bound to see?
It will be extremely difficult to have a crystal ball and you can look at any kind of a number, because they have normally gone wrong. But what we know, that there are populations where 10% of the obese population has really gone forward and taken the medication for their treatment. We have seen that in the US, with the help of GLP-1, US could able to bend the curve of obesity from 39.9% to 37%. And that is earth shaking. So if the similar kind of a thing happens in India, you have 250 million population. I would say why 10, even the 5% population takes it, even the 4% population takes it. I think we are really, really talking about the large numbers.
Mm. But tell me, post-patent expiry, what becomes your moat at Novo Nordisk? Is it brand trust? Is it clinical data that you have? Or would it be the innovation pipeline?
I think so. One is the brand trust, loyalty, engagement, science, deep science. And these have been the pillar of Novo Nordisk, and which will continue. But on the other side, our journey towards innovation will never stop. I think we are talking about the oral semaglutide for, you can say, obesity to be launched. We are talking about new molecules for for diabetes and obesity. And that kind of a journey is never going to stop from our laboratories. A strong portion of our revenue, and that is why the pricing also is always different for innovative molecule, also go towards finding out the next solution, which is better and which is much more, you can say, convenient for the patient population. So that journey will never stop while the accessibility of these molecules is already there on Indian soil.
Mm. But Vikrant, India is currently a small base for drugs like Wegovy, for instance. Does this become a volume-driven growth market now, post March 21st, 2026?
I wish and hope it will. It should, because we know as the pricing comes down, then the accessibility will increase. So, but how much volume game it will become will not only depend on pricing, again to reiterate, it will also depend upon how much the engagement and understanding of this molecule come among the doctor fraternity as well as to the patient population. And or on one side we get concerned about the abuse, but I am also equally concerned about that patients who should actually take this molecule should not be frightened about getting onto these molecules with the advice of their doctors. Self medication should actually be always a big no-no, but volume projection is very difficult, but volume will definitely multiply, Aisha.
Tell me, Indian pharma companies, Vikrant, are gearing up very aggressively, and so many of them we've been chatting with as well in the run-up to March 21st. Could India become a global hub for GLP-1 generics exports, given that we're already the diabetes capital? So in any case, there will be so much domestic experience that will come with it.
I think when it comes to protein chemistry, I think we are the largest of the generic player. So that much I can actually tell. When it comes to insulin, when it comes to semaglutide, we have built the facilities which are on the other side of the $20 billion. Okay. So I think so the size and the scale at which Novo Nordisk can operate for these molecules, whether it comes to API or whether it comes to fill and finish, it would be very, very difficult to match those kind of capabilities. And we stand by that commitment for production as well as accessibility of these molecules. So time will only tell that how these molecules will play across the world, but at least till this time, when the innovation is there, it's the Novo Nordisk molecule which is available across the globe.
Okay, fair point. But tell me, the obesity drug market in India, Vikrant, has already grown, say, 5x since 2021, right? The rough odd numbers. With generics, are we looking at a multi-billion-dollar category, say, in the next 3 to 5 years? Would that be a fair assessment?
Yeah, it can be. It can be, Aisha, because, while it has multiplied in the last 4, 5, you can say last 1 year, but it has multiplied on a very small base. And as I told you, anybody can do that mathematics. We have only 200,000 patients. Then, of course, if even the 1% of the population out of 250 million take this molecule, we are talking about 250,000 patients. So that is actually 2.5 million patients. So that is actually 10 times of the current population which is accessing these molecules. So I do see that with the play of many more players talking about diabetes, talking about obesity, talking about the treatment now available, more literacy will come and more patients will take it. So that is bound to happen. And when many more players are there, that is at least one thing we should achieve collectively.
Vikrant, in the US already, GLP-1 drugs are already impacting food consumption, alcohol, sales, and even some FMCG, strategies too. Do you see similar ripple effects in India? Because whoever I've spoken with who's on Ozempic, they're like, complete loss of appetite. We don't feel like indulging in junk food at all.
Yeah, I do see in and around myself also, people when they reduce, of course, their, the cloth sizes do get changed. Okay, I see also people, their food preferences do get changed, and that's why they become leaner and they lose, you can say, weight. But on the other side, you can say for having a dramatic effect in terms of other commodities or other products which people consume, it will require a sizable population to have that kind of an effect. Like as I said, in US, overall obesity curve changed almost from 39.9% to 37%. A dramatic shift, it's called almost a dramatic shift, would have affected the food choices, the apparels, and we have seen that some of the market movements which has happened. For India, for that to happen, I think at least couple of percentage point patient population has to access the molecule, and we will start seeing that kind of a change over a period of time.
Quite interesting. So you're saying that this is not just a healthcare story, but a macro consumption shift, which is quite possible.
Yeah, it does changes quite a lot of things because when the shape and size of the people change, it does bring a lot of changes in terms of the other thing which they consume. So it's a natural shift which happens.
Vikrant, from the perch where you are at today, and as March 21st now approaches, would you say that semaglutide is just a drug, or would you say that this is perhaps the beginning of a new economic category around metabolic health?
I would say that it is carving out a niche in itself as a big category across the globe. When it was indicated for obesity, people were projecting the market size as 10 billion, and then just a couple of months it became 25 billion, and then 50 billion, and then people are now talking about 100 billion. So any single product category which comes to this size become you can say a mega category in itself. And that is something which we are actually finding, and that is why you see so much of, I call it a gold rush. Okay, but you also know along with the gold rush also comes the peril of the gold rush, because people with a very strong and a long play will only survive. So I would say this category is big, and it is a very interesting category which is emerging, and it's not getting indicated just for diabetes, for obesity, for cardiovascular disease. We are also seeing some of the good results in other organ damages, so to say, in fatty liver and some of the CKD implications which we are seeing. So some of these things are emerging over a period of time, and this is one molecule which is going from one trial to another trial. As I said, that we have got more than 40-45 trials along with semaglutide in different indications, and it is proving the value of this molecule over a period of time. And that's the reason probably this kind of a gold rush which we see it in India.
But just taking off a leaf from the way Wegovy has exploded, Vikrant, critics say that this is becoming a lifestyle drug boom. Is the industry medicalizing weight loss, you think, and is it right somewhere?
I think it should never be taken as a lifestyle drug. Okay. There is an element of diet and exercise which is very, very important, come what may. It's not an excuse pill or an excuse injection that people can do whatever they want and then can take it as a lifestyle drug. This is a serious medication. This should be taken with a doctor, and I personally feel that it finds its right place. The problem is, because of some of these kind of noises, it doesn't find its right place also. To me, I would categorically say that let it not be a lifestyle drug.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very important point that you just made. But some doctors argue that obesity drugs could become the next statins, lifelong medication for millions. Is that the future healthcare systems should be preparing for?
We have seen many of the healthcare systems across the globe where 10% of the obese population has taken, and that's a sizable population which has taken. That proves that the value of this molecule is to a larger population. But mind you that on one side one can talk about the kind of economic imperative it has got on the economy. But when you look at obesity, the implication of obesity as a disease and economic impact is huge. 229 disease, it is the epicenter. Obesity is the epicenter for 229 disease, whether it is mental, whether we are talking about the heart disease or internal organ or even osteoarthritis, even you can say infertility. obesity has got an implication on that. We have seen and we have calculated the impact of obesity alone could be 3 trillion across the globe. So when we see the impact of the disease is far more larger, come what may, than the medication itself. And at the accessibility point, what it has come to India, at least along with us, what we have priced it, I think the cost of the medication is far more lower than the cost of the disease and managing the complication. And one has to keep that thing in mind, that what is the cost of obesity, not only psychosocial, but also the economic cost is huge.
Vikrant, the other thing also is the social aspect of it all. And in this very social media savvy world that we all live in right now, it's actually looked as a vanity drug. And I'll be very honest with that. That's the popular opinion right now. Do you think that perhaps, we're risking somewhere overprescription before long-term outcomes are fully understood? And are long-term outcomes fully understood for, for all these drugs?
Yeah. And then it should not be a vanity drug. That is not something which we appreciate. We, along with the drug authority, keep on, working together, and we do everything whatever is required in advocacy so as to prevent anything about it as so-called vanity drug. And we highly discourage that kind of a phenomenon. Uh, and our pharmacovigilance also is very, very strong. Just to tell you that we are very much vigilant that the way it is sold and the way it is procured remain in the safety zone when it comes to the patient. And the second question you asked me about, what was that? Sorry.
Long-term outcomes are fully understood, because there is so much information out there on, what are the side effects and whether this really works for you or not. Is it all clinically proven?
Yeah, it is. To be see, there are scores of trials which has been done, and more than 50,000 patients have gone into the different clinical trials for this molecule. And we have not seen any cause and effect relationship in our clinical trial when it comes to many of these kind of side effects which are, you can say, enumerated. What we know is that when people take, they get nausea, vomiting, a little bit, you can say, disruption in terms of the stomach, and over a period of time, it goes away as the patient starts using it. But then we have seen some of the, you can say, incidences coming across of different kind of side effects, but it's still, we report it actually. Our pharmacovigilance is very, very alert. We report it, but we have not seen any of the authorities coming across and putting it across as a major side effects with these medications. And mind you, every medication, whatever it is, even paracetamol has got a side effect. So any medication for anybody has got a side effect like this molecule, but we have not seen the cause and effect beyond what is there on the label for these medications after 12 years of continuous use and 49 million patient years.
Interesting. The other aspect also, Vikrant, is, governments globally are debating whether obesity drugs should be covered by insurance or public healthcare systems. Should taxpayers be paying for them?
Yeah, I think in India, while government is working very hard and all this public healthcare expenditure is actually increasing quite a lot. We have seen that from 1.5% couple of years before, it has already increased to 3.5%. And we really love this kind of a penetration of healthcare, what is happening in India. But I think so many of the governments have still struggled in terms of seeing obesity as being taken care by the public services. But whichever government has taken this step in terms of embracing obesity and its treatment, and also you can say taking it as a disease, I think they have been benefited in terms of getting the people access of these molecules and also control on their obesity as well as on diabetes. So any step which moves forward in terms of public care for obesity or for diabetes is welcome. and why it should not be also in India.
So I've got a few rapid fire questions for you, Vikrant. Just give me very quick answers, all related to GLP-1s. One word to describe India's healthcare market: opportunity or challenge?
Opportunity.
Okay. Prevention or medication? What's more important in fighting diabetes?
I think prevention is much more important and cost effective.
One habit every Indian should adopt to reduce diabetes risk.
Move every day, move your legs.
Okay. The biggest misconception about obesity today?
That it can be treated by just diet and exercise alone.
Interesting. One health metric every professional should track regularly?
I think the BMI, the weight, along with you can say the BP and the sugar and many of the other parameters, I think it is very important that weight becomes a critical element or critical point to also observe in patients' history.
And should celebrities come out in the open when they are on weight loss drugs?
I would reserve my comments because many of the societies have got different opinion on this. Okay, so it's very difficult at this point of a time to say anything about it.
Okay, Vikrant, I would have actually hoped you'd be most candid on this one, but good to speak with you. Just so much insight around what exactly this GLP-1 opportunity would mean for India. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot and pleasure. Pleasure to talk to you.